Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We're back in the Psychology of Eating podcast. I'm with Sam today. Welcome, Sam.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everyone.
Glad we're doing this. Sam, if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you want with your relationship with food, with your body, what would that be for you?
I think it would be peace. Just really be comfortable and at peace with my body for the way it is, exactly the way it is. And with food, I think just remove any fear around food that I have. I love food, I love eating, but there are definitely areas that I find challenging. And yeah, I've got some bad habits. So emotional eating, stress eating, binge eating, all of those. I think it would just be getting some more understanding and comfort around those challenges and how I can really, I suppose, address them.
Great. Well put. So when did you first notice that you were having such challenges around food, the emotional eating, binge eating, and so on? When did that start happening?
I think, honestly, it was when I was trying to lose weight and I'd picked up a bit of weight for whatever reason and I was trying to lose it. And despite feeling like I knew what I should be doing, I wasn't doing it. So I knew that I needed to eat more healthily and maybe change some of my eating habits, some of the things that I was doing, but I just wasn't doing it. And it was just causing me more anxiety and grief. And I don't think I've ever considered having a challenging relationship with food. I've never really struggled with, I don't feel like I've been a dieter throughout my life. I've certainly been aware of food and aware of what I'm eating, but it was only really more recently when I quit smoking and I piled on the weight and I was trying to lose it and I was really struggling. And that was when I started thinking that maybe there's more to it than just knowing what to eat, when to eat it, and exercising. And that was when I began this journey of more around the sort of psychological and emotional aspects of food and my eating challenges.
So how long ago was that?
That has been a yo-yo journey for probably the last 8 years.
So about 8 years. How old are you now?
43.
So started around age 35-ish.
Yes, that was when I first started having problems with picking up weight and losing it. Before that, I've been pretty active, and my philosophy was eat what you want, but balance it with exercise. So I was quite good about, I knew that if I felt that if I wanted to eat what I wanted to, it was great. I just needed to make sure that I was balancing that with exercise. And then I hit the stop smoking, and that approach wasn't working.
So when your weight fluctuates, how much would you say it fluctuates in terms of pounds, kilos?
Kilograms, probably about 5 to 6 kilograms.
Okay.
Up to a maximum of 10.
Got it. And I guess that must have been a surprise for you when this all started happening like this, after having not had issues.
Yes. It's not that I didn't have issues, but I never felt that it was a challenge enough that I needed to go on a diet. It was more that I would just have to regulate what I was eating. And in the past, since then, I've tried different diets. I've tried keto, and more restricting what I'm eating, which I don't really enjoy. What
has, in this 8-year-ish journey, what seems like it has worked for you, if anything, even short term, where you find a little bit of peace?
Plant-based eating.
Mm-hmm.
But then I find that I become so focused on it's got to be plant-based and I can't deviate from that. Plant-based really helped me. Yeah. And
does it help you? Does it help you just to lose weight? Does it help? What's the impact on you?
When I first did it, it was everything actually. I'd lost quite a bit of weight, my energy improved, my digestion, I'd been quite unwell, not sleeping very well, a lot of stress, and I just felt more alive and sort of my vitality improved. And I love eating that way as well. So I've always been a predominantly, lots of fruits and vegetables, not a lot of meat. And so it agreed with me. But yeah, it was.
So let's say you're eating a plant-based diet or mostly plant-based diet. What happens that throws that off?
Good question. It will be something else in my life that will not go according to plan, and it'll throw me off schedule. And the first thing that will go is the food. So I'll reach for something to comfort me or soothe my current situation. And it's generally food, and it's generally sweets or cakes, something sugary and sweet, which sets off then, I suppose, a spiral of spiraling out of control, sometimes binge eating, but that will last for a couple of days to a week, and then I'll reset.
Sure. So do you live alone?
Yes.
And are you in a relationship?
No, not currently.
Wish to be?
Yes.
So if you were writing your script around partnership, what would that look like for you?
That is an ongoing dialogue in my head. In terms of a partner or around food and specifically?
No, just in terms of a partner, what partnership would look like for you? Is it marriage? Is it?
Oh, right. Yes, I would like to one day be married and have a family, my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you come close before?
Honestly, no. I've had serious relationships, but I don't feel that any of them would have led to marriage.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel when you think to yourself, here's what needs to happen for me to find the relationship that I want or attract the relationship that I'd like to have? What does your brain say to you?
My brain says that I feel like there's work that I need to do on myself before. There's a lot of work I need to do around my relationship with myself and trusting myself, trusting who I am, and not losing myself when I'm in a relationship. So I think I've held back from being open to being in a relationship because at the moment I feel there's more work that I need to put into myself and discovering who I am, and in other areas of my life as well. Mm-hmm. So it's ongoing work at the moment. So it's something that I've been doing quite a bit of.
Sure. Good for you. So career-wise, work-wise, are you at where you would like to be?
I'm moving in that direction. Yeah. So up until probably about a year ago, no, I wasn't. I had a job. It was great, but it wasn't fulfilling me, and I didn't feel like that was my purpose and what I was meant to be doing. Mm-hmm. So now I'm doing some other work, exploring other areas, and it's moving in the right direction career-wise.
So what do you think it would look like for you if whatever work that you feel you need to do on yourself to be ready for a relationship, what would that look like for you more specifically, or what would it feel like? Like, Sam knows that she's ready for a relationship because I'll have faith and trust in who I am as a person in the world, and I think in relationships I tend to
lose who I am and put the other person first. So it's all about their needs, and I stop focusing on myself and what I need. And I mean, that in itself is just, that never really works. And I don't feel like I've chosen the right partner. So I will be free within myself. I'll know who I am, and that person will just attract the right partner, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't trust myself at the moment.
Yeah. So back to food for a second, and forgive me because I like to bounce around a bit. So when do you feel most free around food and body? Are there times when you just sort of forget about it and, oh, life is okay? Or, eating is not something that you're worried about, even if it's for a day or two or three?
Well, on holiday, certainly.
Yeah,
I suppose when there's that freedom. Other times is when, climate-wise, when I'm in a hot, sunny climate, I feel more alive within myself. So I have more energy, more vitality, and I'm more active. So it all sort of lends itself to being, the more active I am, the healthier I eat. Therefore, the better I feel in my body, the better my clothes fit me. So it's like a cycle. But when my life is on the up in other areas, everything's good. And then when it just filters through. So it's like a chain reaction. If one thing goes wrong, the first thing will be I'll start eating badly, and then I'll stop exercising, and then I'll pick up weight, and then the cycle starts again. So, and then there'll be something that will say, right, and then I'll reset, and it's back to square one.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that what you just described is such a common pattern for so many people. I mean, you're unique, we're all unique, and there's this common pattern of, okay, I'm doing everything right, things are going well, taking care of myself in a pretty good way. Something goes wrong or something doesn't feel good, and the system collapses. My system collapses, and all heck breaks loose.
That's pretty much the way it goes.
Yeah. So where do you get support when those times are happening for you, when things start to break down? Do you have friends that you reach out to? Like, how do you get back on track? What is it that you do that helps right the ship at some point?
So I actually tend to withdraw when things go wrong, and I go sort of very inward. I don't tend to reach out to people, so I'd almost isolate myself. And then it's, I guess, more around when I've had enough of feeling sorry for myself and being a party of one at my own pity party. And then it's like, right, we're not doing this anymore. So otherwise, there are a few people I can reach out to, but not many that I can talk to openly about these kinds of challenges.
Mm-hmm. So it's just being more specific. So there are a few people that conceivably you could talk to about what goes on for you with food and body. Are they friends or relatives?
Friends.
Yeah. Are they friends who can identify with what you go through?
Absolutely.
Yes. So, it's interesting to me because we often have our ways, I find, that we leave ourselves, or we check out, or we abandon ourselves and stop standing by ourselves. And I think part of it is recognizing, oh, this is what I do. Here's the pattern. So you just described the pattern really well. And so you're smart enough and you're wise enough and you've had enough experience to go, yeah, here's what happens for me. Something in my life, whatever it is, doesn't go my way or doesn't feel good to me. And then I go off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually step one. Step one is just being aware, oh, here's my challenge. Here's what actually happens. It's anybody looking on from the outside would agree with you. Yeah, okay, you were doing well. You were taking care of yourself. Oh, wow, something went wrong for you. And then you started self-soothing / self-punishing / not being there for yourself. And the first thing I want to say is that that's the place to work. It's very unsexy, but it's learning to catch yourself in that moment and go, okay, here's me, here's Sam, and I'm about to go into this pattern that I've been doing for a bunch of years. This is my pattern. Mm-hmm. And anything I believe that helps you interrupt that pattern is very good. Any practice that you do that helps you interrupt that pattern, that's where the action is, because nothing changes until you can identify, oh, here's the place where I just switch off the light.
Yeah.
It's like a part of you just literally like turns out the light and goes a little bit to sleep. Mm-hmm. But you do that. So to me, there's two pieces that can help you here in catching yourself in the moment. And let me tell you what I mean by that. One piece is that in a way, what you're doing with food is not really sabotaging. It's not really punishing yourself. You're looking to soothe. I think it's really important to know that the strategy that you're doing makes sense. Because something's going on in your life that doesn't feel good. So you're doing the thing that you know best to do in the moment, which is to eat something sweet.
Yeah. Because
sweets make you feel better. Sweets make anybody feel better in the moment. It's the only reason you would do it. It makes you feel better. You're not doing it to punish yourself. You're not doing it because you're a willpower weakling. You're essentially doing it because your nervous system, your body, your DNA has this memory. If I feel bad and eat something sweet and fun, I will feel good, if even just for a moment or two or three or four.
I get that.
And that's the strategy that you know. So that's what you're doing. And in a way, when you talk about knowing yourself more as a way to get where you want to go in life, to me, knowing yourself more is sort of what we're talking about right now. Oh, this is what I do. And I've been pretty consistent with this. And now I need to interrupt that. So there's a place where I think what you're ready for is a shift. You're ready for a shift in how you are viewing yourself and viewing your future and viewing what success looks like. I don't think for you, success is going to look like, oh, I'm free now. I mean, of course, yeah, you're going to feel more and more free as you address this more and more and as you work on yourself more. So to me, freedom is like a stepwise process as opposed to this target that we hit. Mm-hmm. Knowing yourself is not, I wake up one day and I know myself. I think you know this, but I'm just stating the obvious. Just so you can take it a little more easy on yourself. I think part of the challenge is you're hard on yourself when all this goes down.
Yes, I am quite hard on myself.
Yeah. And once again, that's knowing yourself. Yeah, I'm hard on myself. And you have a say in that. That's to me the place where you learn to know yourself better. Meaning knowing yourself better means I'm hard on myself and that doesn't work. Being hard on yourself, it sounds good because in certain ways, yeah, if I'm hard on myself, I could push myself more. If I'm hard on myself, come on, Mark, you can do this. You can run harder, jump faster, whatever it is. There's a place where you have to find the part of Sam that goes, wait a second, I don't have to be so hard on you. I think a lot of it for you is how hard you are on yourself. That makes the lows lower.
Yep.
And in a strange way, it makes it a little bit easier for you to not take good care of yourself. If I was surrounded by people who were really hard on me about my eating and how I take care of my body and my health and how I am as a person and how I run anything, if I was surrounded by people who were really too hard on me, I would constantly be on edge. I would be on edge. I would be nervous. And the moment I screwed up, I would be even more anxious and I would screw up even more. Because I was just waiting for the moment because of all the pressure that I'm feeling from the outside.
It does feel like that. I mean, even when I'm on a good run, I think at the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, okay, how long is this going to last before you start, I used to say self-sabotaging, but yeah.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So here's the unsexy or not so sexy strategy is that you have to choose to mature yourself in this particular area. Being hard on myself here to the degree that I am has not yielded a positive result. Like it literally hasn't.
No.
And the only reason we do it is because of habit. A part of our brain believes that it's eventually going to work. When you get support from your friends or your loved ones, they're supporting you not by being hard on you, judging you, being your harshest critic. No, they're like, hey, Sam, big hug. Yeah. We love you. How you doing?
Yes.
So that's what you're finding for yourself. To me, that's the goal. If there was one goal in all of this, it's you learning how to love yourself through this process. And you start by liking yourself or respecting yourself or calling off the dogs a little bit because only you can do that. And it's a practice.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think I keep going on about I need to love myself more, and actually baby steps to start liking myself a bit and then respecting it. That's really, yeah.
And then it's easy for you and I and anyone to attract a human being into our lives, like let's say a partner, if I'm self-punishing. Sort of my little advertisement is self-punishment or punish me because that's what I'm doing. So really, this is about you treating you the way you would want to be treated by another human being.
Yes.
And this is about you treating you the way you would treat the people that you care about and the people you love. And again, I'm going to say it's a choice. It's really choosing that I'm going to practice that. And it's going to be, in its own weird way, difficult, because it means seeing that, okay, I've been on a path where I self-attack when things don't go well for me. And I stop loving myself when things don't go well. I stop taking care of myself when things don't go well. How would my friend treat me in that moment? Would they abandon me? Would they judge me? Would they say negative, mantras to me? No.
No, they wouldn't. They would be supporting and loving and, very different to my own internal critic.
Yeah. So let the internal critic be there, and just put alongside that internal critic the internal Sam, who's a woman who respects herself and takes care of herself. And if you were raising children and they were going through hardship, you wouldn't beat them up. You wouldn't punish them. You wouldn't judge them. You wouldn't be harsh with them. You would love them into wherever you saw they needed to go.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
There's another piece to this too, which is the part of us that can be very all or nothing. Meaning, if I eat just like this, totally plant-based, no sugar, no desserts, I don't know how all or nothing you are, but it sounds like there's a part of you that once you hit the sugar, then you just let go.
Yes. So that was something else that I do struggle with. It is all or nothing, even to the point of, if I open a packet of biscuits, I will eat the whole packet of biscuits. I can't just have two, or a chocolate bar. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And the way I control that is by not having it in the house, because I don't trust myself to be able to have one cookie or one biscuit.
Yeah. So I think it's a reasonable strategy to say to oneself, okay, if I get triggered by certain foods and I don't want to eat all of it, then got it. Best for me not to have it in the house. There's also this thing about trusting myself. And I just want to offer some different viewpoints on that. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you say I don't trust myself around these foods means, okay, if I have this around the house, I'm just going to eat it all, and I can't trust myself to eat just one. That's the mistrust.
Yes.
Okay. So part of earning your own trust is that even when you do eat the whole bag or the whole box, you still stand by yourself. You still don't punish yourself. You still forgive yourself, even though it feels yucky, even though your body might not feel so good, even though your energy might not feel so good. You still say to yourself, Sam, you didn't want to do that, but you did it. And you did it because you wanted to feel better. It's the only reason, because you weren't feeling good. You did it to soothe. I don't have to punish myself for more than 10 minutes. So it's really shortening the amount of time that you would normally punish yourself or abandon yourself or not take care of yourself. So instead of it being a week or 5 days or 3 days or 1 day, you start to cut it down to 3 hours.
Okay.
So those are the baby steps. So it's you trusting, like to me, my good friends, the people that I'm closest with, I trust them. And I trust them because on a certain level, no matter what happens to me or what I do or what I go through, I know that they're going to stand by me. even when I've done stupid nonsense.
Yeah. Mm.
So you say you don't trust yourself around having the food in the house. I understand that. And we need to get to a place where we trust ourselves, because that's fundamental.
Yeah.
Fundamental to you being at peace in the world is trusting yourself, but it's not trusting that I won't eat the sugar. That's not it. It's trusting that even when you do eat the sugar, you're still your best friend.
Okay.
Do you see the distinction there? You see the difference?
Yes. Yes, between not eating it and just being okay with eating it. Yes, I do.
Yeah. How's this conversation for you so far?
It's good. I think this all or nothing is probably, yeah. I mean, why though? Why? I understand that I'm self-soothing, but why is it? I mean, I always take it back to being at boarding school and being one of 5 children and having to rush through meals. But why? I mean, is there any insight into why I would eat the whole bag rather than just half the bag?
Yeah. Like I mentioned, Sam, I've heard this story 1,000 times from people who never went to boarding school or, were an only child, different circumstances completely, but same basic story. And part of all or nothing is that it's a very childlike strategy. And I didn't say childish, I said childlike. It's a young strategy. Mm-hmm. So if you observe young people, you observe a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, if you give them free rein, they'll eat all the ice cream they can.
That's true.
They'll just go for it. They're not thinking about their health. They're not thinking about their long-term, risk of getting diabetes or something. They're in the moment. And in that moment, all they understand is that this feels good to me and I ain't going to stop until my body forces me to stop. So it's the child in you.
I keep hearing that just with all the other work I'm doing, that I'm either a teenager who's being defiant there is a lot of growing up to do, I think, for me in terms like emotionally and yeah.
And it's not bad because we love the child in each other. So the child in you is great. And this is one particular place where the child in you doesn't serve you. So it's not about that there's something wrong with you. So it's not like that. It's more understanding the wonderful complexity of you. And it's the child in you that, makes you sweet and makes you innocent and makes you lovable. And it's the child in you that when you get the bag of sweets, you want to eat it all. It's no argument. It makes perfect sense to a child's mind. So that's why we have to introduce consciousness. That's why we introduce awareness. That's why we introduce the practice of consciousness, which is not easy. It's a certain degree of work, but I really want to see you take away as much judgment as you can about self in all of this. And there's nothing wrong with you. Like literally, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just a learning, growing human being. That's, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's another piece of the puzzle for you here. And I'm just sensing that there's the part of you that thinks you have to fix yourself.
I'm slowly coming round to seeing that, yes, you're not wrong. And I often catch myself in the language that I'm using, that it is that. And actually, I'm trying to see myself as just being on a journey. So, and it's just, this is where I am in my journey rather than something that needs to be fixed or I need to find a solution. It's just, yeah, it's a journey and I'm learning and growing.
It's as simple as that. And if you can remind yourself of that every single day, you're doing yourself a big favor, that you're a person, you're wonderful as you are, you're not broken, you're just learning how to be a better version of you. And there's certain places where you're really good at being you. And there's certain places where you got to do work, like everybody. Certain places where we're just doing the work. And this is a place where you're working, but not to fix something about you that's decrepit, deficient, bad, broken, disease. No, it's just you're learning.
Yes.
And I know it's easy for me to say, but I really want you to hear these things because I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and I want to see you get where you want to go. And sometimes part of getting where we want to go is reframing how we see our life and how we see ourselves. Just seeing the picture of who we are from a new angle. So yeah, you're going for all the food. It's all or nothing because yeehaw, let's do it. So you're exuberant in that way. You're passionate in that way. It doesn't work for you, but it's a sign of passion, exuberance that needs to be regulated better.
It's tamed a bit, yeah.
Yeah. And you tame it or you regulate it, not by punishing it, not by trying to fix it, but by, first of all, understanding it truly and seeing it from a place of non-judgment. You're like every other human being who, when you see the goodies, there's a part of you that wants all the goodies. Well, why not go for the whole bag? I mean, that's just, yeah, I'm going for it. So that's the child's exuberance. And it's the adult mind in me, in you, that steps up and goes, oh, wait a second. Whenever we do this, we don't feel good. Deep breath, moment of consciousness, and invoke the woman in you, the adult in you, the queen in you, and invite her to the table in that moment. That's a practice.
Yeah, that will be a practice. Okay.
Yeah, go.
I was going to say, I don't practice that. I think in the moment I do. I'm just in that one. I don't consider the child versus the adult, and I suppose reparenting myself in that moment, and just having that quiet conversation saying, as you say, you know that you don't feel good after this. Let's not have the whole packet. Yeah. And
even if you eat the whole packet, even if you have that conversation with yourself, and even if the child in you still says, not listening, that you still, afterwards, you still stand by yourself and you go, oh, wow, that happened again. That doesn't feel so good. Let me put that in my memory banks for the next time. And it might take you 3 times, it might take you 30 times, I don't know, until trying that, and at some point, you're going to start to get it. It's you and I learning to stay awake in the moments that we tend to go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. Stay conscious in the moments we tend to go unconscious. Call forth a different voice, a different archetype in me, the adult in me, the king in me, in the moments when I tend to let the child in me take over and run the show.
Yes. I think that will be very powerful for me.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
I also think this ties into you and relationship. And what I want to say about that is I love when we can take the attitude of, something, before I dive into a deep relationship, I'm going to see if there's some work I need to do on myself. I'm going to be with me. So I think that's great. I think that's wonderful. I think more people ought to do that in between relationships, because sometimes it's very instructional. When was the last time you were in a more significant, intimate relationship, would you say?
About 4 years ago.
Okay. So I don't know. I really wonder for you if you're not more ready than you think. Meaning, you're not there. You're not perfectly there where you're free and you know yourself and you know that when you get into a relationship, I'm not going to completely give up on myself and just focus on the other person and lose myself. You don't have to know that 100%, but if you're a work in progress, which you are right now,
mm-hmm.
and if you're starting to look at the places in your life where you can go unconscious, where you can step outside yourself, where you can lose yourself. Losing yourself in relationship is no different than losing yourself in relationship with food. Same thing.
True.
There's a part of me that somehow forgets to take care of me. There's a part of me that somehow forgets to stay in my body and have the adult voice, the woman's voice, the queen's voice that understands, wait a second, here's what we need to do to take care of ourselves. So you're finding that with your relationship with food and body, you're finding that in relationship to men.
Mm.
Why not assume that the man that you attract, you'll be able to do that work with together? Because there will be moments where you'll be challenged. There will be moments where you start to lose yourself, and then you'll catch yourself. And you'll have chosen the right choice of a partner because it's somebody you can work with, as opposed to, I have to be this finished product.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm waiting to be a finished product, or I suppose just feel like I would trust my judgment better. I think part of this is in the last relationship I had, was where I think my weight was reflective of the state of the relationship, and I picked up quite a lot of weight, and it wasn't, and food and alcohol was quite a big part of the relationship. And I guess I'm just scared to go back to that place and then not be able to control it.
Yes, understood. So then you're not quite there yet with yourself, where you realize that, something, in the comfort of my own home, I can stand by myself when it comes to food. Meaning, if I fall off the wagon, if I eat the whole bag, I'm still going to love myself. I'm still going to take care of myself. I'm not going to punish myself for days. I'm going to get back into self-care and self-awareness as soon as I can, because punishing myself doesn't work for me. So I think as you practice that, you'll be ready sooner than you think, in my opinion.
I'm willing to give it a try. Yeah.
Questions that are occurring for you, things that you're wondering about based on this conversation, things that don't quite feel like they fit or you didn't quite understand?
I think I've understood everything you said, and it all makes perfect sense. My resistance is coming from, I know that the work has to come from me. And as you say, it's practice and I have to do it. And I think historically, maybe I haven't been as supportive of myself in that space as I can. So it's, I guess, the fear that's coming up that, okay, I know that I've tried these things before, and yeah, it's practice and I just have to keep doing it. It all makes total sense, perfect sense. And some new, I think the inner child that's probably a really big thing for me, is being able to have those conversations with the inner child when I'm in that space and about to eat the bag or do something that I know won't serve me.
Yeah. So much of it is about us being willing to be beginners again. Because it's easy to say, yeah, I've tried that. Didn't work. What else can I do now? And it's easy to let go of the very strategies that will work for us because they're hard or they don't yield immediate results. Sugar gives me an immediate result. I eat it, I feel good. That's immediate. I don't have to wait days or weeks to feel good.
That's it.
And the efforts of practice, we don't always experience it right away. So part of it for you just might be, okay, can I just push the reset button, the refresh button, and say, okay, I'm going to be a beginner here. And that's okay.
Yeah. And I think it's also recognizing that it is a journey and I can't solution my way out of this. There isn't something, as you say, this isn't about fixing something. It's about learning and growing. And that's been quite big for me because I am how can I fix this? What's the solution? And I'm recognizing that isn't working in my life. And that I do need to see things as it's all part of a journey. So
you have it, you know it. And it's starting to put that knowing into practice so it feels more embodied. Your brain understands it. And if there's such a thing as the soul, which I think there is, I think your soul understands it. And practice makes it more real. And I think you're ready.
Okay. Is it that simple though? Just being okay, because what we've spoken about is it's being able to catch myself and have that conversation. And I'm looking for a solution here or an answer.
Yeah.
So if I do that, does the binge eating, the emotional eating, the all or nothing, does that get addressed? It will get better, but it's one thing being able to catch myself, and the other is learning, I suppose, to find other ways of self-soothing or that's not using food.
Bingo. Yes, absolutely. So it is that simple. It's not that easy. Simple in concept. So yes, it's learning to catch yourself and then learning to have other strategies that help in the moment. So one of the reasons why I asked if you have, people you can turn to for support. Is there a girlfriend that you can agree with? Like, hey, if I'm going to be in a moment of weakness and I feel like calling you up when I'm about to eat a bunch of whatever, can I call you? Can we just talk it out? Can I just bitch and moan and complain, or whatever it is you need to do? You mentioned you tend to isolate. So how can you start reaching out and creating more connection and getting more support for what you're going through, so you're not isolated? So part of it is, yes, catching yourself in the moment, but then it's looking at the rest of your life, which is why I was focusing on relationship, because it just feels big for you. Feels like a big piece of you that wants to happen. And in a strange way, I would want to see you putting as much energy there as you do into healing your relationship with food. That might mean being in a relationship, or it might mean looking at what it means for you to open yourself up to that. And oftentimes, one of the ways we open up to relationship with a significant other is just start in the easy places. Open yourself up into relationship with the people you're already in relationship with.
Very, very good point.
And be more connected to them and be more intimate with the people that already love you, already want to support you. But there's a little bit of push, and I'm pushing them away because I don't want them to see this part of me, or whatever, for whatever reason, shame, guilt, whatever. I don't want to bother them. Yeah. So it's greasing the wheel of relationship by being in close relationship with those people that are already close to you.
Okay. That I can do. My family's a slightly more challenging. So all my sisters and my mom and all my family have their own challenges with food and body image and weight. So I don't feel like we are necessarily a good support for each other, which is one of the reasons that I don't really go to them for support, because we're all as bad as each other, I suppose, in some ways. But yes, I can certainly lean on friends more.
Yeah, so it's you making your life more fulfilling by including that which you want, which is more connection, more intimacy. And again, starting with the people that you're already close with. And that, to me, naturally opens us up for a significant kind of relationship, because we're already making that affirmation to ourselves and to the world and to life. Like, I'm in connection, and I'm in healthy connections. I'm in healthy, supportive connections. What a great affirmation. I'm with people that I can reveal myself to, and they still love me.
Mm. That's the important one.
Yeah. Great work, Sam.
Thank you. It's been, got a lot out of this. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you just sort of diving in. I know this conversation is not easy. It's very personal. It's very intimate. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people just benefiting from what you've shared and just your honesty about your own story and your own journey that you're realizing is indeed a journey.
Yes, and realizing that I actually have to do the work, which is in itself, it's all about practice and actually putting the work in. So, yeah. Well,
today's the first day of this new part of your journey.
It is indeed. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. Cheers.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care. And remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.